Hello, beautiful souls. This is Jamie Goldstein, your host for the Bridging Sky and Earth Embodying the Star Wisdom Summit. And I am so delighted here today to have alchemist and intuitive healer Mary Angela Perotti of Alchemia Energy Healing here today. And she is going to share about the Aries Equinox and the Sacred Rebel initiation. So we're going to explore how to liberate ourselves from suppression, limitations, old false identities and false concepts that are ready to fall away so we can shine and embody our most radiant essence and really embrace our healing gifts to align with the most supportive timeline for 2022. So welcome, Mary Angela. I'm so happy that you're here. And I want to take a moment just to read your bio because you have such an amazing bio, and I've had the pleasure of receiving your beautiful healing services. I've had some healing sessions. I've received healing sessions from you, and they have been so profound for me to really break through some previous limitations, even previous imprinting I've had from past lives that I've brought into this lifetime. And I had such an immediate lifting of energy after our sessions, and I had so much moving in my healing offerings. Like I just started receiving abundance after you helped support me to break free of some of these limitations. So it is a real pleasure to have you here. Being that I've gotten to experience your beautiful healing gifts. So for anyone who's new to you, I want to take a moment to share about you. So Mary Angela Perotti, alchemist, transformational intuitive healer, naturopath, interdimensional shamanic and angelic channel, author, teacher, spiritual coach, and intuitive astrologer. For 30 years, Mary Angela has practiced in the fields of energy medicine, biomedical science, naturopathy, holistic health, and meditation. She is the founder of the Alchemia Energy Healing, a spiritual system that eliminates limiting beliefs, removes blocks, and reprograms the mindset, creating connections, integration, and transformation, which awakens sacred power and destiny. Mary Angela uses her sacred alchemy process to find the power behind your sacred wounds, stepping out into your brilliance and fast track your progress. Embody your divine purpose and be the fullest expression while not compromising on your health, and create deep transformation in the world. And I can attest to all of this as the truth because I have experienced these benefits from receiving your healing. So welcome, Mary Angela. I'm so grateful to be here and get to explore the equinox with you. The Aries season is my birthday season. So I love when we move into Aries season. So first, I just wanted to ask you about, what should we know about the Aries equinox and our inner sacred rebel?
Thank you, Jamie, for having me. And I'm so excited to be part of your interview series, and excited to kick this off with the Aries equinox. And all around the world, for many centuries, the ancient people honoured the equinox and how pivotal that time was to bring the balance back into our body. The masculine and feminine, the dark and the light are an equal length. So we're finding that balance. And this Aries equinox, the sun is in Aries, the moon starts off in Libra, but then moves into Scorpio. But we are finding that our inner rebel is really accessing the warrioress within ourselves, the fierceness. You might even see yourself as an Athena frequency, the goddess Athena, that she is going to battle, as in fighting the negativity that we hold in ourselves, and really accessing that liberation. So the sacred rebel is accessing our spirituality, but in a fierceness that we are embodying differently than we ever have before. Having that fire and that creativity to share what we have, to give to the world in a different way. So the rebel she's helping us to liberate, to break free, to no longer be hemmed in from the past. And because it starts off in Libra, we are in harmony with ourselves. We're finding that balance. But then because it moves into Scorpio, we're finding the hidden parts of ourselves. It's highlighting the solar energies, highlighting those parts. When I was tuning into this and channeling, my guides were giving the information about past life gifts that were suppressed, that we perhaps were conditioned from damage, from trauma in our past lives of sharing our gifts as medicine women, where it wasn't safe. But with this dynamic energy of the Aries coming up, it's going to highlight, yes, it's safe. Yes, we can share. It's not the same that it was before. So even though the hidden, our emotions can be overwhelming, we can get stuck in the fear, the Aries, the fire element, is going to help to break or melt away some of those conditions, or the way our mind, our fear keeps us stuck in an old version of ourselves. I know when I was younger, I had a lot of psychic visions that frightened me, and I suppressed that because I didn't want to see anymore. But then my intuitive, my feeling sense developed. So as I'm speaking, there might be a time in the past, perhaps for you, Jamie, or everyone else watching, where they had a suppression of their gifts early on because either their parents didn't agree with it or it seemed a bit weird. But there's an aspect of ourselves from childhood that is surfacing right now. 2022 is such a powerful year for deep love and compassion for ourselves, to bring forth this new element of our intuition, more people with their psychic gifts. It's going to be developing mysticism. All of that is just going to be an explosion, and we just want to use that fire as the momentum, with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac to really initiate this growth. And for you guys in the north, it's that spring, so that's that momentum of new birth, new beginnings. So it's really this expansion of possibility. And for us in the south here in Australia and New Zealand, we're going into autumn, but there still feels like this initiation, this bursting through of something new. There's momentum, there's energy, there's creativity that wants to really help to initiate some forward momentum.
I love that. I'm getting really excited hearing you share about this. And what I was also, my attention was being drawn to, and I'm going to pull up the Aries Equinox chart. So just so a moment, everybody can, you can take a snapshot of it to have the Aries Equinox chart, because as we're sharing this summit, it's a little before the Aries Equinox. And that way you can kind of sit with it. And even sometimes just meditating with the chart can be so, so powerful. And what I was intuitively being drawn to as you were talking, and it's so spot on for me, is every time right now as Chiron, the healer archetype, as Chiron is in Aries. So every time we have the equinox over that next, really actually over the first part, the first half of Aries season, the sun is coming to Chiron, at least right now. Chiron is still in the first half of Aries. And Chiron is often called the wounded healer. And, you can go and read the mythology of Chiron if you'd like, but I think, and there's validity to that, because Chiron does touch on some of our deepest wounds, and it's our Chironic mission to alchemize those wounds and turn them into medicine to share in this world. But I also think part of what Chiron's doing in Aries right now, I don't really know if Chiron would call himself the wounded healer. I think he might just call himself the healer, because he was a magnificent, extraordinary healer. I don't know. In my own sense is I don't think he probably saw himself through those eyes as being, the perspective of being wounded, because all the pantheon of the gods and goddesses sent their children to learn from Chiron, the master teacher of the healing arts, herbalism, medicine, all of these different things. And it's my personal sense that these 6-7 years while Chiron's in Aries right now, Aries is the I am. So Chiron in Aries is healing the I am that I am. And I think Chiron is kind of wanting a name change while Chiron's in Aries instead of maybe the wounded healers. I think part of it is healing
the empowered healer.
Yeah, the empowered healer, moving from the wounded healer to the empowered healer. Because yes, our wounds do tend to catalyze and motivate our own healing journey, and we turn that into medicine, and that's beautiful. Not to bypass that, but then there's I'm just, this is the part of the work you do when we get stuck on, when we identify with our wounds, it's self-limiting and it's not empowering. And so when we start doing the Chiron work for alchemy, I think, wait, it's time to let go of our identity that's been wed to those wounds and to take on a new, more empowered identity, because there's no wounding in our essence, like the purity of our essence. It's something that's untouched by any of our experiences in this lifetime or past lifetimes. And so what you were sharing was just reminding me, every time the sun goes into Aries for Aries season, the sun, our life force energy, our vitality, our creativity gives this infusion to Chiron. And I think probably me and maybe many that are watching this, we are healers that are here. Probably if you're watching this, you probably are a healer, an empath, a healer in some sense, and have gifts to share. And most of us, like you spoke to, don't necessarily have, we didn't have childhoods that nurtured our healing. And Aries is the I am. So I think part of this too is like that, that reclaiming of the I am as healer. And I'm so sorry, I went off on a long tangent, but I was so inspired by what you were sharing.
I know this is perfect because I consider myself the wounded healer, but that's also a judgment, as you said, because without the struggles, we can't transcend that. I call them our sacred scars, and underneath those scarring is the gifts and our magic and medicine that we're here to bring to the world. My eldest son had so many allergies, sensitivities to food. Without him and all the difficulties he went through, I wouldn't be the healer I am today, because I explored further what is holding him back. Why is he holding these emotions from my family? Where is this coming from past lives? So it's just a past judgment that we are wounded, that if we just see no longer as a weakness, it is our sensitivity is our greatest strengths, basically. And I think with that, the next part of that chart is Mercury and Pisces conjunct
I'm going to pull
Jupiter
this
and
up as you're
Pisces.
talking.
So again, that sensitivity that we have can be judged as wrong, or it's too much, or it's overwhelming, especially as empaths and sensitives. We can absorb other people's energies. And I know you felt that too, Jamie, where we take on the world, we take on everyone's problems. So I think that sensitivity is going to get a boost. We'll be able to have better boundaries, but this expansion and growth of our intuition, our ability to see, hear, feel, and know, all those clairs, will just get a real upgrade. So I'm excited for that.
I love that. I'm getting really excited. And I love that you're drawing the attention here. This beautiful, I'm going to grab the drawing tool here just to get a little sense here. We have this like beautiful lineup of Mercury, Jupiter, Neptune, all in the cosmic waters of Pisces. And I just love that you brought our attention to the powerful activation of our healing gifts with this Aries Equinox chart. And it's like with Mercury, Neptune, Jupiter, it's like this, and the sun just crosses over all three of them before going into the Aries equinox. So it's like we're inspired with this higher Pisces vision, the higher dream. And then as the sun's going into Aries, like, how do we birth it? I love
it's definitely an urging of, yes, this is your time. Don't hold yourself back. People are looking for you. People want what you have to offer. And it doesn't have to be necessarily in a big way or on stage. It could be your family. They're just wanting some hope or reassurance. There's wisdom coming from you. Even being a space holder of peace and love will create change. So I think we're all, it's an exciting time to bring this forward, because as healers, our greatest gift is to bring love, peace, and harmony to ourselves and then to other people. And that as we stand together as healers all around the world, we can bring the momentum and change back into just support for humanity in a greater way.
I love that. Well, how can we, and if we need to come back to the chart, I can come back to this too. So let me know if you want me to pull the chart up at any time, but this is such a beautiful what you spoke about with the Pisces energy, how can we liberate our intuitive gifts, our healing gifts?
There's another part of the chart, you might go to that, is
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Moon and Mars are in a square. Is that
Yeah.
right? There's some
Yes.
tension between the Moon and Mars. So here's our sensitivity, and we have this conflict with Mars. We might attract bullies or difficult people or authority or a system that says, no, you can't change, stay where you are, don't rock the boat. And because of our sensitivity, we may think, no, we'll listen to them. That used to be me. I had a very strong father, authoritative father.
Yeah.
Most of us probably did have some level of conflict, but how much is it costing you to stay like that? What is at risk if you continue? So part of you, we just want to drop down from the mind into the heart to really listen to your heart. I'm wearing my heart t-shirt. To
I
listen
love
to
it.
that. The sacred heart has to be, I've have to listen more to the heart than the mind, because we think that by breaking through, by challenging the status quo, something bad will happen. I think because we can get too over amplified in the brain. But once we take action, all we need to do is the next step. The next step opens up our pathway. I wanted to be a naturopath, but I studied biomedical science. I stayed there for 10 years and I got RSI. I was looking for cancer cells on the microscope, but I stayed too long because it wasn't my pathway. I could see that my arm wasn't going to get well until I left. So it takes a big, courageous leap, but I think that's why we're calling in the Aries energy to say, I'm done with this. I'm no longer going to stay in this situation because my health is more important. So that is what's going to help you liberate, choosing to honor your needs, your health and well-being over somebody else and your fear that they might be controlling you.
I love that. And then, so just to share, I'm going to go forward about a day, because just a few minutes after the Aries equinox, the moon's in like the very last moments of Libra. And then over the day of the first day of the equinox, that's where the moon is going to, once the moon moves into Scorpio, the moon's going to make that square to Aries. And then, yeah, I'm just going to go forward a day. So, whoops, that's a minute. that's not a day. There we go. So about a day after, we'll see here, the moon right here will come to square Mars and in Aquarius. So I love this energy that you're speaking of. It's like there's this building energy of the moon, that first day of the equinox, the moon moving to that square to Mars. I may have been mixing all of that up as I'm talking. I'm not sure, but I love that. I think it's so empowering and
It's
so
part of that
inspiring.
past life where we are shedding the fears of perhaps death or
Yeah.
persecution, being burnt at the stake. Many of us carry that imprinting, even though it was thousands of years ago. We are still holding that fear of, like for me, public speaking was my greatest fear. I couldn't do it. I went to church, I was a Catholic. I'd be standing in the pulpit at 12 reading, and I was petrified. I was just shaking like a leaf because I didn't know why I was shaking so much, but I know now I was carrying that fear of, I'm going to be judged. Something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I've been able to let go of that. I think that is part of, nothing bad is going to happen. We are safe now. And it's up to us to break through those limits and to really share. Your why has to be bigger than the fear. So it might be, your health, but it might be your child, or it might be the planet or the animals. But now is the time to really step into that, because we also have Uranus in Taurus, which is helping us to break free of the conventional way of being of service, of living where we need to live. It's like unconventional ways, breaking from the tradition, how we're going to earn money, how we're going to receive money, how we can support ourselves using our different gifts. And now with technology, we can share our gifts all through the internet in different ways. So it's an exciting time. I'm just really feeling this impulse and just this explosion of possibilities that's available for us with this transit.
Yes. I was so moved by it when you just said our why has to be bigger than our fear. There's something about that that is so profound, and that was just so activating for me. And so how might someone connect with their why if they're not quite sure? Sometimes we know we might have a child, we might be experiencing a health crisis, and we know what our why is, but sometimes we might not know what our why is. If we've I actually sometimes give astrology readings to people, and sometimes they're not sure, and that's what we kind of get down to. Do you have any strategies how someone can connect to their why?
I think if we're too much in our head, we won't know. That's why we have to drop down into our heart. But also, even if you put your hand on your heart and your solar plexus above your navel, you're connecting to, what is my passion? What is the cost if I stay in here? What will propel me forward? What will inspire me? So for me, the trees inspire me. For me, animals inspire me. There's something always in your childhood that you wanted to do that will help. So your why will be, some people are motivated by money. That could be a thing. But for me, it's like, I do want to make a difference. I want to see people really understand their gifts and break free of just working in a normal job. For me, it's my health. This is what I comes down to, for me, is it's a non-negotiable anymore, that I can connect to my solar plexus energy, and that's what guides me to, this is just the next step. Often we can get caught up with the vision is too big, too far in the future, but for now, I just want to speak and support your community and just help them to really realize there's more in them. There is more gifts inside you that are ready to be birthed, because you are here to make a difference. And I feel that everyone in your community is here to make a difference in a different way. Something external to them is often stronger than your own why. Yeah.
And going off of that, especially in regard to what you were sharing about with Uranus, and it's this Uranus and Taurus is this internal motivation wanting us to break free of our old attachments and limitations. So how can we choose to walk a different reality?
It's our identity. Our thoughts get stuck in the past. So I do want to take us through a process, but our identity is locked in a younger version of ourselves, where we were disempowered, where we had no voice, where we didn't feel like we had anything to offer. Our thoughts are young. We come from a younger version of ourselves, our little one. So that is what can derail us as we step into a new identity. We're breaking free of those, the boundaries of the comfort zone that we've chosen to stay into that's holding us back. Cutting the cords is so important from our thoughts, because they just take us off into a place of negativity and fear, and not a place of empowerment. So I'm always teaching my clients to cut the cords and ask them, where are they? When I say, are you in the future or are you in the past with that thought? Because when we're in the present, we are empowered, we are in the channel, we're connected to all that is, we're supported in that moment to take that step. So that's the biggest thing, I think, is changing the mindset and just noticing how your thoughts are coming from a disempowered place. So changing, just noticing, having that awareness. What am I thinking? I feel like I'm hopeless or useless. So how can I be a leader? How can I step up? But it's not the right question. It's more about, what is my next step today? How can I be of service to my friend or my family? And I think that takes their momentum, and over time all these tiny steps end up being big leaps. I would never thought I could have been being on your summit, doing videos. I was petrified to speak. So my deepest fears have become my greatest gifts. So I help people overcome those things that hold them back and actually help them realize it's their greatest medicine. We often hold ourselves back because we're protecting ourselves from harm, but in actual fact, if we just let that unfolding come out, that emerging, then we can see that baby step will get evidence. It is safe, it's okay. You just keep writing down all the good that's happened from that little tiny step you took, and then over time you'll make massive leaps. Massive.
Oh, I love this. This is so beautiful. And I keep on just thinking about Venus as you're talking, because as probably many of you watching know, and many may not, because there'll be lots of people who are new to me, I really attune my astrological attention to syncing with Venus. She has these 19-month cycles. And every time a cycle starts is when she comes between the earth and sun. There's a sacred union of Venus and the sun, and it seeds a 19-month cycle. So the one that just started early January is in Capricorn energy. And that's the Capricorn invitation. It's just one foot in front of the other. It's like come back to the present moment, and you climb that mountain, but it's just one step right here, right now at a time. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, we have this moment where it's like, wow, I can't believe that I mean, this was my experience moving into sharing my healing gifts. It's like, wow, I'm really here. I'm on the summit. I'm giving astrology readings, and it's that one step in front of the other. So, and that's so Venus too, which is just bringing it right back to the present moment and not projecting too far out into the future. So I think that's so.
Yeah, because you totally created a new foundation. You also had a different life before what you're doing now when you worked in the schools as a psychologist, and you just, again, you listened to your body, you left, you knew there was a cost and a risk to your body and health if you stayed there. So, and look what's blossomed from you taking that step and deciding I can't do this anymore.
Oh, thank you. And I love even like getting to hear your story is so powerful, because from my perspective, I've received your healing gifts before, and they've been so profound and were in fact so instrumental in supporting me on my path. And then to hear, because sometimes when we look at people who are healers, we don't always realize the journey they've gone through to come to that place. And we each as healers, most of us have gone through our own self-limiting beliefs and fears or the insecurities. But when we look at other, sometimes we think, oh, I must be an imposter if I'm experiencing that, because we look at other healers and we just see their beautiful gifts. And so
I didn't come out like this. I was indoctrinated into fear. I was consumed by anxiety and depression. Yeah, this has taken work.
Yeah, which is so empowering, because so we can know
I totally understand
we're not
alone
if we're experiencing that. So I love that. That's just so, because I look at you, I'm like, wow, you experienced that, and because I look at like, of course you're here sharing and shining. You're meant to do this. And so if you're watching this and you're having that doubt or insecurity or that imposter syndrome can be really big as people start to step into healers, to know that doesn't mean we're not supposed to step out and share our gifts. That's something to the old conditioning, the false identity that we're letting shed away.
Yeah, we can still have both. We can still have doubt and we can still want to do it. So it's okay to have both and not think we've got to get rid of this or the negativity before we can. It happens at the same time.
That is such a great point to bring it back to. I certainly have my doubts that still pop up still in sharing my work and what I do. And so I wanted to ask you, what process can we use to make the most of this time?
Yeah, so I just wanted to take you through a process today. So I want you to just imagine connecting to the divine and just allowing that breath to come down from above into your heart, just focusing on that breath and allowing that divine connection, giving yourself permission to receive that unconditional love from your guides, your angels, the ancestors. It's beautiful. We're connecting to the earth, Mother Earth, and we're drawing up from the beautiful love Mother Gaia has for us, an unconditional connection to the land, the mountains, the trees, the rocks, all of nature, the water systems. We're breathing that up from the earth into our heart as we activate the sacred heart, placing your hand on your solar plexus above your navel as we connect to that sacred rebel within us. Often there can be a disconnection or a break between the connection between the heart and the solar plexus. I want you to imagine that that shaft of light has been restored and reconnected between the heart and the solar plexus. Feeling that connection there, because this is where we can go into separation. We can decide we're too weak. We give up on ourselves. That's it. I can feel that strengthening as I'm connecting for the community here. So that shaft of light, that unconditional love, and that re-emergence of your strength, your fierceness, your boldness within that solar plexus is being reconnected. We're asking to cut the negative cords from the past. We're imagining scissors or a sword, severing the negative connections to those experiences where we've given away our power. We're cutting from the front of the body, above your head, behind your body, underneath your feet. Because as healers, empaths and sensitives will be connected to everybody. So as we sever those cords where we might have been leaking our energy away, we're cutting that connection that's disempowering us. That's it. We're calling back our energy now into our physical body and reinforcing our outer edge, our auric field protection, our crystal light frequency, so that we've got a container, a beautiful vessel of light holding our frequency, filtering the negativity, filtering the heaviness around us, so that as sensitives, we're held in our own space. And we're asking to connect to the solar part, the right-hand side, our inner masculine, the part that takes us to be motivated, that finds protection, that is our inner strength. That's the right side of the body. Strengthening that outer side, even imagining it like wings stretched out like Athena, goddess. That right wing is strengthening, there's new blood force, just surging into that right side. That's it, that's beautiful. And then on the left side, the femininity, our compassion, our giving, peace, receiving, we're just strengthening that wing so that it's getting a resurgence of that fire, the lifeblood, the vessels, restoring strength into that left wing. And we're just asking to release anything still held in our body from a time in our teenage years where we were being controlled, because as we activate the sacred rebel, there is momentum, there's energy from the liver frequency. I want to move, I want to change, but there's a restriction from your teenage years where perhaps you weren't able to, perhaps it wasn't the right time. We're just cutting the cords to that version of you that is still held in a disempowered space. As we ask to break free of those old limits and boundaries and restrictions, our old identity is connected to that younger version of ourselves. We're breathing in the beautiful crystalline frequency of Aries during this portal gateway, the fire that's going to melt away any anger, resentment to people. It's going to melt away our judgment of ourselves, of what we were unable to do when we were younger. That's it. I can feel that softening now. It's opening up space to create and step into our new identity. We've been conditioned to just live from a constricted comfort zone, and we're going to break free. We're just going to expand those wings to break free of that old container, that old identity. As we expand into our new comfort zone, which can feel a little bit wobbly or unstable, as we ground deeper into the earth to strengthen that foundation and anchor, grounding deeper and wider. That's it. so that we can stretch out into our new identity of being fierce, bold, inspired, creative, living from our gifts, sharing our message, connecting with the creativity in all the different ways you deliver your healing abilities through art, through photography, through medicine, through nursing, through your family, through your writing, just sharing your ability as we raise the vibration of who you are now with this Aries activation, that you are safe to shine your light, to be a magnet. Your resonance has changed. Your imprinting is becoming higher. I am light. I'm allowed to shine. I deserve to shine. And you are embodying this frequency now. This is who I am. Allow the heart, the sacred heart and the sacred rebel to come together, to become unified, in balance, to reveal your true identity. And this may come to you as a feeling or as a color. It might come through as a goddess or an animal. It might come through as an image from nature. Show me what my new identity is, my true sacred rebel. What does that look like for me? Just get a sense of that. And just trust that if it doesn't come through right now, it's going to come through in your dreams or over the coming days. Just dropping down into accepting this is who I am. Stepping out of that conscious mind and allowing your true version to be infused in all your cells, in your DNA, in the mind, in the body, in your spirit, in your energetic blueprint. This is my true identity. This is my uniqueness. And as I share my gifts, I'm going to attract and manifest the best possible situations, conditions, experiences, relationships that I never knew was possible, because I am courageous. I can feel that really changing as we come back, knowing all the changes are being integrated in this moment. You can revisit this, connecting with this before you go to bed, and in the morning, you're sending out a new frequency out to the day, bringing change and manifestation, attraction of everything you want to experience in your life. How is that for you, Jamie?
I feel like a whole new person. I feel actually maybe that I feel more like myself, I should say. I actually feel, I feel an energy shift. I feel a lot lighter and I feel excited.
Yeah, it is exciting. I can feel everyone, you, me, everyone just lifting. This is what's so important, working in a collective, in a group, in a community like this. Our energies together bring change because we're connecting to everybody around the world. We're connecting to our guides in unison. So together we just amplify that frequency, and so much more is possible when we work in group together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for guiding us through that practice. I do. I feel lots of, particularly around what I'm sensing in the moment is around my third eye. And crown chakra, I feel a lot of energy that has moved and feels lighter in those two particular areas.
Great. And all the changes will keep rippling through you.
Yeah.
Yeah, wishing you every success with your summit and all the other people that will be here speaking, and everyone listening. That's my intention for you, that everyone's going to receive exactly what they need and change and step into their true selves.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mary Angela. We're so blessed to receive your wisdom and guidance and to receive that beautiful practice. And it may be a beautiful practice to come back to on the actual day of the equinox as well. What do you
Oh,
think?
yes, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Do you have any in closing together, do you have anything you feel inspired to share to kind of send us off into this new astrological year? And I should say, for anyone who's maybe newer to astrology, the Aries equinox is when the sun comes to 0 Aries. So that's our spring equinox in the north. And then, like you mentioned, you did speak to this, the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere. But it's a really that's many astrologers consider that the astrological new year, kind of regardless of what hemisphere you live in. And so do you have any guidance to send us off into the astrological new year? Any or last little gems? You offered us so much guidance, but any little gems to leave us with?
When you're having a wobbly step, when you're feeling a bit uncertain and shaky, just breathe and ground and say you are bigger than that fear. You are bigger than that fear. Because often when we are in fear, we're going to disconnect. We're going to go into our head. We're going to go into past experiences. So we are not in the present. So my biggest takeaway is when you're in fear, take a breath, cut the cords to it, ground, and do it anyway.
Oh, I love it. I am bigger than this fear.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. I feel the resonance when I say it. Well, we are
because
so
you can
blessed
have both. We have the fear, but we have to be bigger than that. The empowered version is bigger than our little one.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Mary Angela. Do you have any offerings, projects, your services, things? How can people connect with you and receive your beautiful gifts?
I have my offerings are I work with people one-on-one. I have a beautiful healing group that we come together, healing our sacred scars and activating our greatest gifts. So I work in that way, but I also have a free community group, a Facebook group, healing your sacred scars, so that I've got a beautiful powerful equinox ritual I'm going to pop in there. So I'd love you to join me in my community group so that I can continue to support you through my videos and my meditations, so that we can still work, all the healers coming together, the ones that need a little bit extra encouragement. I'd love you to join my Healing Sacred Scars group. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm going to have all the links right under this video. So you can just click on them and connect with Mary Angela in that way.
Thank you.
It's such a blessing to be here with you. And you're so special to me because I've had the gift of receiving your sacred gifts. And thank you so much for supporting us to step into the new year empowered and courageous and to be bigger than our fears.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you for the rest of the talks. Bye for now, everyone.